most of us are still using AI like it's a glorified 2023 search engine. We ask a question, we get an answer, and we kind of think that's it. Beat.
Yeah, but the real shift isn't about getting a better chatbot. It's about finally handing over the steering wheel.
Welcome to the deep dive. I'm really glad you're spending some time with us today. We're exploring something truly fascinating. We are unpacking a comprehensive guide on autonomous agents. It's a fundamental evolution of how we actually get things done.
It really is.
We're going to journey through 3 distinct levels of AI adoption, going from a place where you're essentially the exhausted CPU of your own workflow.
Right, doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, exactly. Moving from that to becoming the architect of a 24/7 digital organization.
It completely flips your relationship with technology. I mean, you stop being a typist, you become a director.
Before we can build an AI organization, though, we have to pause. We need to honestly assess where we currently are. And if we look closely, most of us are stuck in the shallow end.
Yeah, the very shallow end.
We use tools like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity every single day.
We really do. But we treat them like hyper-intelligent encyclopedias. You ask a question and you just wait.
I was reading the IBM definition in our sources, and they define an autonomous agent very specifically.
What's the exact breakdown?
An AI that designs workflows, uses tools, and completes goals independently.
Right. Independently being the key word there.
But let me see if I actually understand the mechanics of this. A regular AI tool is entirely dependent on human momentum.
Yep.
It waits in standby mode. You type a question, it gives you an answer, and then it just immediately goes back to sleep.
Exactly. It has absolutely no agency. There's no continuous loop. You are doing all the driving. But an autonomous agent works differently. It connects your initial input to external tools. It produces a final actionable output.
So it's actually doing the thing.
Right. You give it an overarching goal. The system figures out the necessary steps by itself. It executes those steps. It checks its own results. And it just keeps going until the job is actually done.
That brings us to what the researchers call level 1. This is where, the vast majority of people live right now. The AI acts as a very smart but very isolated assistant.
Yeah, you use it for one-off tasks.
Right.
You might paste a massive PDF into Claude to shorten it, or ask ChatGPT to generate 5 subject lines for a newsletter. You use Grammarly to polish a harsh email.
I'll make a vulnerable admission right here.
Oh, yeah.
I still wrestle with this myself constantly. Even knowing what I know about this technology, I caught myself this morning manually copying a transcript into an AI window just to get a summary.
Oh, man, we all do it.
It's so deeply ingrained in us to act as the copy-paste middleman.
We all fall into that trap because it feels highly productive. These little tasks save us 10 minutes here and there. But look at the underlying mechanical pattern. You copy the data, you paste the data, you write the prompt, you edit the output, you copy it again, you hit send.
If I stop moving my hands, the work stops completely.
Yeah.
Beat. The entire system is bottlenecked by my physical presence.
Exactly.
It's a very high-touch environment.
You're functioning as the CTU. You are the processor connecting every piece of software on your computer. The AI is only working as fast as you can type and click.
But let me push back gently on this.
Sure.
If I'm using a tool to draft a follow-up email to a client, and it perfectly references our past meeting, and it saves me 10 solid minutes, why isn't that enough of a win? I mean, why do we need to completely upend how we work?
Because the bottleneck is still entirely you. Your total capacity is physically capped by your own manual actions.
Right.
You still have to read the output, move it to Gmail, check the recipient, and click send. It's fundamentally unscalable.
So it saves time, but fundamentally limits your total output.
Right, and that's where most people stop. They never realize there is a massive ceiling above them.
There's definitely a ceiling to playing the middleman. Eventually, you're doing so many one-off tasks that your whole day is just managing bots.
Exactly.
The bottleneck shifts from doing the work to just routing the information, which naturally leads us to level 2.
The next step up.
This is where the architecture completely flips. We change our role from the worker to the manager.
At level 2, autonomous agents don't just help with one isolated step. They handle the full task lifecycle from start to finish. They only need your input at very specific strategic moments.
The interaction loop changes completely. You establish a goal. The agent breaks that goal down into logical steps.
Yep.
The agent runs those steps in the background. It shares a final result. and you simply review and approve it.
It's a profound mental shift. You stop typing prompts for every single granular task. You start setting directions and letting the system run the actual execution.
Let's look at a real-world example of this in action. Say you're drowning in customer support emails.
A classic problem.
Our sources outline a workflow using a tool called N8N to handle this. It illustrates level 2 perfectly.
Yeah, instead of a human reading and tagging every single email, an automated system handles the entire life cycle.
The process has 4 distinct mechanical parts. First is the trigger.
Right.
The process initiates automatically the second a new email arrives in your Gmail inbox. Nobody has to click anything.
Then second comes the evaluation phase. An AI node instantly analyzes the incoming message. It categorizes it. It decides if it's a technical support request, a billing issue, or just spam.
And if it is a support issue, a specialized AI agent takes over. And here's where it gets deeply interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It uses the system's brain. It accesses a vector store called Pinecone. Let's define that. A digital memory bank where AI instantly retrieves your specific data.
That is exactly it. And the mechanics of that are just fascinating. It doesn't just do a simple keyword search. It converts text into mathematical coordinates, so it can conceptually understand what the customer is asking. It instantly retrieves your company's past history and specific policy data.
Wow.
It doesn't guess. It knows.
Finally, we reach the action phase.
Yeah.
The agent performs a tangible, real-world action.
Exactly.
It might send an alert to your team via Telegram, or it creates a fully drafted reply in Gmail waiting for your final review.
Your daily role in this setup is totally transformed. You aren't desperately writing emails from scratch anymore. You become an operator who just monitors a dashboard.
The research happens invisibly. The data lookup happens invisibly. The initial drafting happens invisibly.
Eye behind the scenes.
You use tools to build this bridge between asking and doing. The sources mention N8N for its technical flexibility. Make is highlighted for having a cleaner visual interface.
Make is very beginner-friendly.
And Zapier is great for user-friendly app connections.
They all handle the routing of data in the background. You just oversee the flow.
But if I'm setting up this system to handle my client emails, how do I actually trust it? I mean, how do I know it's not going to hallucinate a completely insane promise to my biggest client?
Because of how you design the operator role,
Yeah.
you intentionally build a deliberate pause into the workflow.
Okay.
The AI never has permission to click send. It is only authorized to prepare the draft. You retain that final human checkpoint to guarantee absolute quality.
You only review and hit send. The AI just drafts.
Precisely. You stop thinking in single prompts. You start thinking in systems.
Sponsor?
So we're moving from just chatting to building an engine.
We're back. Okay, so drafting a customer service email automatically is a huge leap. But what happens when you need to run an entire marketing campaign?
Right.
Or research and write a comprehensive industry report? One linear workflow is not going to cut it.
No, it won't. And that brings us to level 3. This is where things get genuinely different. You're no longer using one single AI tool in a sequence. You are architecting a complex ecosystem of multiple agents.
Level 3 is like moving from being a solo chef cooking every meal to becoming the restaurant owner.
I love that.
You design the menu, you set the budget, and you hire the line cooks. And the bots are the line cooks.
That perfectly captures the org chart structure. You have a manager agent sitting at the top.
Right.
You give your high-level strategic direction directly to this manager, and this manager coordinates highly specialized agents below it.
Let's break down how they actually interact. You might spin up a research agent. Its only job is to scan the live web for real-time data.
Yep.
It hands that raw data over to an analyst agent. The analyst filters it to find actual market insights.
Then the analyst passes its findings to a writer agent. The writer creates the final report based on those specific insights. And finally, a quality agent reviews the grammar and tone before it ever reaches your desk. They are passing digital files back and forth in a shared workspace.
2-sec silence.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Imagine an entire digital workforce grinding 24/7 while you sleep.
It is staggering when you really visualize it. But to reach this level of complexity, you need specialized frameworks.
Because they need rules.
Exactly. These frameworks govern how the agents are allowed to talk to each other.
The sources highlight a few key players here. CrewAI is very popular for business owners right now.
Very popular.
It helps you build structured crews of agents. You actually give them specific roles and unique backstories to shape their behavior.
Then you have Microsoft AutoGen. It focuses heavily on multi-agent conversation and debate.
Oh, debate.
Yeah, it's incredible for complex logic.
Yeah.
Say you have a coder agent write a script. A separate tester agent will run it, find the bug, and argue with the coder agent until the code is completely fixed.
That is wild.
They iterate completely autonomously.
And then there's LangGraph, which provides highly granular control. It's best for building systems with very specific cyclical logic.
Right.
It ensures a strict sequence of stateful steps is followed without deviation.
The strategic shift you have to make here is massive. You're moving from an operator to an architect. Your primary job is no longer micromanaging the prompts.
It's system architecture. You're designing how the entire ecosystem behaves at scale.
Exactly.
An architect doesn't obsess over one single database. They focus on the structural integrity of the whole building.
As an AI architect, your focus shifts to 3 major strategic areas. The first is governance. You have to set the hard guardrails. You define strict spending limits for API usage. You mandate approval requirements.
The second area is objective alignment. You ensure these interconnected agents are actually working toward the right business KPIs rather than just spinning their wheels.
Right.
And the third is the human-in-the-loop placement.
You decide exactly where your human judgment is mathematically necessary. You insert yourself for final approval or nuanced creative direction.
It sounds incredibly powerful. But doesn't this become a chaotic black box?
What do you mean?
Well, if I have 10 different bots debating and writing code, haven't I just lost total control of my own business?
Not if you architect it correctly, because you control the ecosystem. You set the strict hierarchical structure.
Okay.
You establish the unbending rules and the spending limits. The bots are entirely confined within the rigid boundaries you designed.
You set the strict rules and goals, the agents just execute.
Right, exactly. You become the CEO of your own digital organization.
Hearing about level 3 is deeply inspiring, but we need to ground this in reality.
We do.
For the person listening right now, sitting at their desk, looking at a mountain of unread messages, how do they actually cross that gap from level 1 today?
You have to start remarkably small. You do not build a 10-agent crew on day 1.
Right.
You pick a single task that you do more than twice a week.
Summarizing industry newsletters in your inbox.
Yeah.
Drafting social media posts from a weekly content calendar.
Yep.
Researching new sales, leads from a LinkedIn search. Pulling Friday data to write a short status report.
If you do it regularly and the logic is predictable, it is a perfect candidate. You can use a tool like Agent GPT for a completely no-setup trial.
Just to test the waters.
Exactly. It just helps you get a visceral feel for how an agent tackles a problem step by step.
Then you have to consciously change your thinking. You have to stop prompting and start architecting.
That's the hardest part for people.
Instead of thinking about what to ask the AI in this exact moment, you start thinking in triggers and rules.
Action A triggers action B, and it always ends with action C. A new competitor email arrives. The AI automatically summarizes it. The summary is instantly saved to your Notion database. You build that logic once, and you let it run in the background forever.
Let's highlight this smart drink monitoring system example from the research. It's a fantastic illustration of the human-AI balance.
Oh, yeah, that's a great case study.
In this system, the AI does 90% of the heavy lifting.
The human isn't manually calculating the metrics or tracking the inventory. The automated system handles the massive underlying personalization and user management engines.
But the human still provides the vital direct feedback.
Yeah.
You retain the final checkpoint for the highest stakes actions.
Right.
This guarantees that the personalized outcome actually meets a rigorous human standard.
That specific design pattern is the absolute key to scaling. You gain massive leverage, but you do not sacrifice your quality. However, people still make very predictable mistakes when they start out.
Automating too much too fast is a massive one. Trying to build a fully autonomous level 3 system in your first week almost always ends in frustration.
It always fails.
You have to start with one single task, get it working flawlessly, then layer on the next.
Skipping the review step is another dangerous mistake. Agents will make mistakes. They will hallucinate. You must keep reviewing their outputs until the workflow earns your trust.
People also falsely assume they need a computer science degree to do this. You really don't. Tools like NAN and Make have intuitive drag-and-drop interfaces.
Very visual.
But if someone sits down this weekend to build their first agent, what is the single biggest trap that's going to make them give up in frustration?
Giving the system a vague goal. Agents work incredibly well when the goal is hyper-specific.
Okay.
If you just tell an agent to improve my marketing, It'll go in endless circles and achieve absolutely nothing. The required output must be perfectly clear.
Giving vague goals, you must define exact outputs and strict boundaries.
Right. And mastering that clarity is how you succeed. You learn to write deterministic rules. You learn exactly when to approve a workflow and when to adjust the parameters.
Let's synthesize the overarching philosophy of our sources today. The researchers at MIT Sloan define this transition perfectly.
What do they say?
The agentic shift is ultimately about systems executing multi-step plans and using external tools entirely independently.
Moving up through these levels requires a total perspective shift. It's like stacking Lego blocks of data.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you build the foundation carefully.
Yeah.
And you add complexity layer by layer.
The core transformation is undeniable. We are moving from actively doing the work to strategically directing the system.
Yes.
And the technology to do this is absolutely ready right now.
The tools are completely accessible. The frameworks are open source. The only thing genuinely standing in the way is our own old habits. We have to be willing to unlearn our addiction to manual work.
We have to start thinking like system architects. I want to issue a direct call to action to you. Challenge yourself this week. Identify just one repeated, predictable task in your daily routine.
It's just one.
Step back from it and build a basic, rule-based workflow to handle it.
Don't stop tweaking the logic until that system is working for you in your sleep.
Becoming an architect is arguably the most important career shift of the next decade, which leaves us with a deep, reflective question to consider. Beat. If a digital workforce eventually handles 90% of the execution and logic in your daily job, what becomes your actual, irreplaceable human value in the marketplace? Outro music.